Have you ever wished you could see beyond someone's words, straight into what they truly think and feel? Imagine sitting across from a person, friend, partner, or stranger, and with just a few simple questions, their inner world quietly unfolds before you. Most people spend years misreading others, but what if you could learn a skill that lets you understand anyone at a deeper level without guessing or manipulation? You're sitting across from someone, curious about what's really on their mind. Instead of struggling to decode body language or overanalyzing every glance, there's a simpler way. You can peer into their soul through just 5 carefully chosen questions. Reading another person isn't magic, and it isn't some rare gift reserved for the few. It's a learnable skill grounded in a timeless psychological principle. Most people hide their thoughts, but deep down, they crave something powerful. To be seen, to be understood, to be known. That very desire is the doorway into their inner world. Now let me be clear. This is not about manipulation, nor is it about prying into someone's private life. What I'm about to share is a way of building authentic connection, of moving past surface-level exchanges into something genuine and lasting. Socrates once said, "Know thyself is the beginning of all wisdom." Yet understanding others, truly grasping who they are beneath the mask, is just as essential a form of wisdom. The difference between shallow conversation and real connection lies in the questions you ask. Most people stick to predictable small talk. What do you do for work? Or, where are you from? But these rarely reveal anything meaningful. The 5 questions I'll share with you today are different. They bypass the polite chatter and instead uncover the person behind the persona. And here's a hint. The 3rd question is especially powerful. It doesn't just touch the surface. It reveals core values, the very truths people usually keep hidden, the things they only share with those they trust deeply. If this resonates with you, hit subscribe so we can keep walking this path of stoic clarity together. Now let's dive in. Question number 1. What's been the highlight of your week so far? This first question is deceptively simple. On the surface, it feels casual, even friendly. But in reality, it's a sharp psychological tool that cuts straight into someone's values and priorities. Instead of receiving vague answers like busy or fine, this question pushes them to recall something specific, something that brought them genuine joy. The beauty lies in its safety. It doesn't feel invasive, yet it reveals deeply personal insights. When someone shares their weekly highlight, they're really telling you what they notice, what they value, and what matters most in their daily life. I discovered this question years ago during a coffee meeting with a new colleague. Instead of the usual small talk, I asked her, "What's been the highlight of your week so far?" She paused, then her face brightened. She told me about helping her elderly neighbor move furniture into a new apartment. That single story told me everything I needed to know about her character. She didn't choose to mention a career win, a personal milestone, or anything that benefited her directly. Her highlight was serving someone else. That answer revealed a person who values service over success, relationships over recognition, and who finds true joy in making another person's life easier. 6 months later, when I needed a reliable teammate for a project, she was the very first person I thought of. After her response, I knew without a doubt that she was someone who would always place the team's success above her own glory. And I was right. Over time, she became one of the most dependable and selfless teammates I've ever had the privilege to work with. The beauty of this question is how it instantly uncovers personality types, almost like lifting a curtain in one simple motion. Career-driven people will highlight professional achievements, promotions, or big breakthroughs. Relationship-oriented individuals light up when they talk about family gatherings, moments with friends, or meaningful conversations. Adventure seekers will share stories of travel, exciting experiences, or new discoveries. Family-centered people usually mention precious time with their children or spouse. But here's the subtle truth. It's not only about what they say, it's also about how they say it. Pay attention to the energy shift when they speak. Notice how their voice softens or strengthens, how their posture relaxes, how their eyes suddenly sparkle. In that moment, you're witnessing them reconnect with what truly matters to them. And that raw energy reveals far more about their authentic self than any resume or polished social media profile ever could. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." This simple question reveals exactly what that very little is for each person. For some, it's achievement and recognition. For others, it's connection and service. Some people come alive when describing new things they've learned, while others radiate peace when talking about solitude and quiet moments of reflection. I've used this question in job interviews, on first dates, at networking events, and even in casual conversations, and it never fails to provide insight. For example, a potential business partner once told me his weekly highlight was finally organizing his garage, seeing everything neatly in its place. That one answer told me volumes. He valued order, completion, and had a systematic approach to problem solving. Later, when we worked together, those traits proved invaluable for managing complex projects. On another occasion, someone shared that their highlight was finding a hidden little restaurant no one else knew about. That response revealed a person who treasures unique experiences, who is curious about hidden gems, and who enjoys being the first to discover something new. Understanding this helped me connect with them by sharing discoveries and trading recommendations. This question also exposes a person's orientation toward time. Some people focus on recent accomplishments, showing that they live in the present. Others highlight something they are building toward, which reveals future-focused thinking. Still others revisit familiar joys, showing that they value consistency and comfort in routines. And here's something just as important. Listen to what they don't say. If someone struggles to answer or simply says, "I can't think of anything," that's just as telling. It might mean they're going through a difficult time, or that they rarely pause to reflect on positive moments. Perhaps they're so consumed by problems that they overlook the small joys happening around them. Even the timing of their highlight carries meaning. Did it happen at work or at home? Alone or with others? Was it the result of careful planning, or did it come as a spontaneous surprise? These details together paint a vivid picture of when and where they are most likely to feel fulfilled. One simple question opens a window into the soul and sets the stage for deeper understanding. And once you know what energizes a person, you can more accurately predict their motivations, their reactions, and the kind of relationship they'll value with you. Understanding what fuels someone is powerful. But there's another dimension that's equally important: how they face growth and change. Question number 2. What's something you used to believe that you don't believe anymore? This question reveals a person's capacity for growth and their depth of self-awareness. The first question helped reveal what energizes someone in the present. But this second question goes deeper. It uncovers intellectual humility, how they process change, and whether they truly have the capacity to evolve over time. More than that, it shows their willingness to admit they were wrong, something that, in many ways, is one of the clearest signs of emotional maturity and genuine depth of character. The real psychological power of this question lies in what it asks from the person answering. To respond meaningfully, they have to look inward. They must be willing to reflect honestly, to acknowledge their own fallibility, and to show that they are comfortable with the idea of growth. These qualities separate the rigid from the flexible, the stubborn from the adaptable, and the closed mind from the open one. I first discovered the value of this question during a job interview for a leadership position. On paper, the candidate was flawless. Impressive credentials, a polished resume, and confident answers to all the standard questions. But I wanted to see something more. I wanted to know, how does he handle being wrong? So I asked him, what's something you used to believe that you no longer believe? He paused, thought carefully, and then replied, I used to think that working longer hours automatically meant being more productive. I'd stay at the office until 9 o'clock every night and secretly feel superior to colleagues who left at 5. But I eventually learned that focused, high-quality work in fewer hours creates far better results. And, ironically, those so-called lazy colleagues often outperformed me. That answer revealed several critical things about his character. First, he was willing to admit he had been wrong about a core belief in his work philosophy. Second, he showed that he could learn from both observation and experience rather than blindly clinging to his old views. Third, he displayed humility by admitting that he had misjudged his colleagues. And most importantly, he proved that he was capable of changing his behavior based on new understanding. That candidate got the job. And in the 3 years we worked together, his adaptability and willingness to evolve made him one of the most effective leaders on the team. Looking back, his response to that single question predicted his success more accurately than any technical test or competency checklist ever could. The beauty of this question is how quickly it separates people. Some respond with enthusiasm, offering multiple examples of beliefs they've outgrown, showing they view intellectual evolution as something natural, even exciting. Others, however, hesitate or stumble. They may not have spent much time reflecting on their own growth, or worse, they may simply be unwilling to admit they've ever been wrong. I once asked this very question to someone I was considering as a business partner. After a long silence, he finally said, I can't really think of anything. I've always been pretty good at figuring things out from the start. That response told me everything I needed to know. Either he lacked self-awareness or he was too proud to admit his mistakes. In either case, it signaled that he would likely be very difficult to work with, especially when challenges arose that required flexibility, humility, or compromise. By contrast, the most impressive people often light up when faced with this question. For them, it's almost a relief, an invitation to share their growth story. One person once told me, I used to believe that asking for help was a sign of weakness. I thought that figuring everything out on my own was the only way to prove I was capable. But now I understand that asking for help is actually a form of wisdom. It shows you value progress and results more than you value ego. We explored how admitting a change in belief reflects humility and growth. Now, as Seneca reminded us, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. This next question reveals something even deeper: how comfortable a person truly is with endings. The ending of old beliefs, the ending of outdated ways of thinking, even the ending of old versions of themselves. People who handle these transitions with grace are often the ones who prove to be resilient, adaptable, and remarkably pleasant to work alongside during times of change. After all, isn't life itself a series of endings and beginnings woven together? When listening to someone's response, pay attention not only to what they say, but how they say it. Do they show shame, or do they carry a quiet sense of pride when speaking about their evolution? Healthy, mature individuals rarely describe it as failure. Instead, they frame it as growth. They'll use language like, I discovered, or I learned, rather than I was wrong, or I made a mistake. That subtle difference in words reveals how they relate to their own journey of personal development. The actual content of their answer matters just as much. Imagine someone who once believed nice guys finish last, but later realized that kindness is a form of strength. That evolution speaks to a completely different character development than someone who once dismissed money as irrelevant, but came to understand that financial security provides freedom and peace of mind. Both examples reflect growth, but they point toward very different value systems and very different life experiences. Some people share belief changes centered on relationships, showing they've learned hard but meaningful lessons about human connection. Others reveal shifts in their professional or academic thinking, signaling they are deeply driven by achievement and competence. Still others talk about spiritual or philosophical evolution, revealing a mind that wrestles with deeper questions of meaning and purpose. This question also uncovers a person's learning style. Do they change their beliefs after personal experiences, after careful research and study, after hearing feedback from others, or only through dramatic life events? Understanding how they process new information gives you an advantage. It shows you the best way to communicate with them in the future. But here's the catch. Some people can't answer this question at all. Usually they fall into one of two groups. Either they've done very little self-reflection, or they're too rigid or too proud to acknowledge that growth has ever taken place. And in both cases, it often means building a deep relationship with them will be difficult, because growth and adaptability are essential for facing life's inevitable changes together. Understanding someone's growth mindset is already valuable. But our third question goes even further. It cuts straight to their deepest values, in a way that completely bypasses their social defenses. If you've ever changed a belief that once defined who you were, take a moment and comment the word "evolved" below, as a reminder that true wisdom often begins when we admit we were wrong. Now, let's continue. Question number 3. If you could change one thing about how people treat each other, what would it be? This question is like an excavation tool. On the surface, it's hypothetical and feels safe. But beneath, it digs directly into what matters most, their values in human relationships. In fact, this may be the most powerful of all 5 questions, because in one response, people reveal their personal relationship philosophy, their pain points, and their highest ideals. The genius of this question is in how safe it feels. They're not being asked to expose themselves directly, nor to confess personal vulnerabilities. Instead, they're talking about humanity in general. That psychological safety allows them to share their deepest convictions without fear, and yet hidden inside their words are glimpses of their own scars, their core values, and their private beliefs about what makes relationships succeed or fail. We saw how the third question can uncover a person's deepest values. I discovered its true power several years ago when I was considering someone as a potential business partner. We had already met multiple times to discuss possible collaboration, but deep down, I still wasn't sure if our values truly aligned. One evening over dinner, I decided to ask him this question. He paused for a long moment, thought carefully, and then replied, "I wish people would stop making promises they have no intention of keeping." He explained that there is something deeply corrosive about casual commitments, those that are broken without even a second thought. That answer told me everything I needed to know about his character. For him, reliability and integrity weren't abstract ideals. They were core values, forged through painful experiences in the past. His frustration with broken promises revealed that he took commitments seriously and expected others to do the same. It also showed me that trust was the foundation of how he approached relationships. 2 years later, that insight proved invaluable. He became the most dependable partner I had ever worked with, the kind of person who would call if he was going to be just 5 minutes late, and who always delivered exactly what he promised. His answer to that one question had mapped out the blueprint of his character. The beauty of this question is how it reveals different personality types and their central concerns. Some people emphasize kindness. I wish people would show more compassion. Others focus on honesty. I wish people would say what they really mean instead of being passive-aggressive. Still others highlight respect. I wish people would truly listen to understand. instead of just waiting for their turn to speak. Each answer reveals not only what they value, but also what they have likely experienced the absence of. The person who longs for compassion has probably endured harshness. The one who craves honesty has likely been deceived or manipulated. The one who desires more listening has probably felt ignored or misunderstood. I remember asking this same question to another person, and she immediately replied, "I wish people would stop judging others for things they can't control." That short answer revealed a lot. She had likely experienced unfair judgment, deeply valued acceptance and equality, and carried a profound empathy for those who are marginalized or struggling. Later, when I worked with her on a team project, these qualities made her extraordinary at resolving conflicts and creating inclusive environments. Another person once said, "I wish people would follow through on the commitments they make to themselves, not just to others." That answer revealed someone who understood that self-respect is the foundation of all relationships, someone who valued personal integrity, and who had probably struggled with people who constantly made excuses or lacked self-discipline. Epictetus once said, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." And this question does exactly that. It helps you know who a person truly is by revealing what they value most in human interaction. It shows you their relationship template, the standards they hold for themselves and others, and the behaviors that either build trust with them or destroy it. That's why it's important to pay attention not only to what they want more of in human behavior, but also what they want less of. For instance, someone who says, "I wish people would be more grateful," reveals they value appreciation and may have felt taken for granted. Someone who says, "I wish people would stop trying to fix everyone," shows that they value acceptance and may have suffered from unwanted advice or interference. Equally important is the emotional tone of their answer. The way they speak, their voice, their eyes, the rhythm of their words often reveals as much about their values and experiences as the words themselves. We saw how each answer to the third question reflects a person's core values and personal experiences. But the way they respond also reveals something more. Some people answer with frustration or even pain, showing that they've been deeply wounded by the very behavior they want to see changed. Others respond with hope and optimism, proving that they still believe in the potential of people to grow. And then there are those who answer with resignation, as if they've already accepted that people will never truly change, though in their hearts, they still wish things were different. This question also exposes the scope of their thinking. Some focus only on individual behaviors, like kindness or honesty. Others think systemically, pointing to issues such as inequality or justice. Their response shows you whether they see problems in relationships as personal failings or as broader social issues. Listen not only to their explicit words, but also to the hidden message beneath them. When someone says, "I wish people would be more patient," what they may really be saying is, "I wish people were more patient with me." When someone says, "I wish people would be more direct," they are often revealing their own preferred style of communication. This one question can reveal an entire relationship philosophy. But knowing someone's values is only the beginning. Our fourth question takes it a step further. It shows how they handle pressure and unexpected situations. Question number 4. What's a decision you made that surprised even yourself? This question shines a light on their capacity for growth and their ability to surprise themselves. It uncovers whether they are willing to step outside their comfort zone, how they view risk, and whether they are capable of breaking free from their established patterns. In short, it's a crucial indicator of adaptability and personal courage. I first discovered the power of this question during a team meeting with colleagues I thought I knew well. When I asked it, Sarah, a quiet team member, always conservative and seemingly risk-averse, gave an answer that stunned everyone. She said, "I quit my corporate job to start a food truck, which shocked everyone, including me. I had never cooked professionally, but something inside me needed to create with my own hands." That single answer completely changed how I saw her. The reserved person I thought I knew was hiding an entrepreneurial fire and a willingness to take massive risks when something truly mattered to her. It revealed courage, creativity, and self-trust, qualities invisible in her day-to-day behavior. Later, when we needed someone to lead an innovative project, Sarah was the first person who came to mind. The beauty of this question is how quickly it separates those who are truly self-aware from those who live on autopilot. People who can answer readily are usually paying close attention to their own growth and feel comfortable with personal evolution. Those who struggle often live within rigid self-concepts and resist change. I remember asking one man, and his response was, "I've never really done anything that surprised me. I'm pretty consistent in my choices." While consistency has its value, his answer revealed someone who might lack flexibility and rarely ventures beyond established boundaries. In contrast, dynamic individuals often light up when faced with this question. One person told me, "I'm naturally introverted and hate public speaking, but I surprised myself when I volunteered to give a presentation at a major conference. Not only did I survive it, I actually enjoyed connecting with the audience." That answer revealed sharp self-awareness of natural tendencies, a willingness to face fears, the capacity for growth, and even the ability to find unexpected joy in challenges. These qualities are powerful predictors of success in situations that demand adaptability and courage. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Adapt yourself to the life you've been given, and love the people with whom you share it." And that is exactly what this question uncovers. How a person adapts, evolves, and relates to the constant changes of life and personal growth. We saw how surprising decisions can uncover hidden courage, creativity, or compassion. But there's something else to notice: the tone with which people describe those decisions. Do they speak with pride, with regret, or with curiosity? Healthy, grounded individuals usually describe their self-surprises with pride and even amazement, seeing them as proof of their ability to grow. Those who focus on regret often struggle with risk-taking and may second-guess themselves when facing uncertainty. Meanwhile, those who show curiosity usually reveal a genuine growth mindset, approaching surprises as opportunities to learn and evolve. The content of their answer matters deeply, too. For example, someone who surprised themselves by standing up to authority demonstrates hidden courage. Someone who suddenly pursued a creative passion shows that there is depth beneath their surface identity. Someone who helped a stranger in need reveals a buried well of compassion. And equally important is identifying whether their surprising decision came from external pressure or an internal calling. External surprises show how they respond when circumstances push them. Internal surprises, however, show the capacity for self-initiated growth, the willingness to take action when no one else is forcing them. That's why this question is so powerful. It doesn't just tell you who they have been. It reveals who they are becoming. Understanding someone's capacity for self-surprise prepares us perfectly for the final question, one that goes straight to the heart of their deepest motivations and desires. Question number 5. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? This timeless question strips away fear and hesitation, exposing a person's truest desires. By removing the barrier of failure, it uncovers what they actually want to do with their life. It reveals their ambitions, their hidden dreams, and what they believe would bring them fulfillment if fear, doubt, or practical limitations were no longer in the way. The psychological strength of this question lies in how it bypasses the rational mind's constant self-editing, how we often censor ourselves with what's practical or realistic. Once you take away the possibility of failure, the answers people give are rarely about safety. They are about authenticity. You see their soul's direction, unclouded by fear or the weight of social expectations. I discovered the transformative power of this question during a conversation with a close friend who felt completely stuck in her career. For months, she had been complaining about feeling unfulfilled at work, yet she couldn't quite articulate what she really wanted to do instead. When I finally asked her, "What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail?" everything changed. Her entire demeanor shifted. Her eyes lit up, and without hesitation, she said, "I'd open a counseling practice specifically for teenagers. I'd create a space where they could talk about real issues without judgment, things like depression, family struggles, and identity crises. I'd make mental health support accessible and break the stigma around it." Her voice carried an energy I had never heard before. That single answer revealed a person motivated not by status or money, but by service. Someone who valued healing over profit, and whose true calling was helping vulnerable people navigate some of life's hardest transitions. 6 months later, she enrolled in a counseling program. Sometimes all people need is permission to finally admit what they truly want. The beauty of this question is how instantly it reveals core motivations. Career-driven individuals might talk about building a business empire or reshaping an industry. Creative souls often dream of writing novels, making films, or producing art that moves people. Service-oriented hearts describe helping others, solving social issues, or creating a more just world. But remember, it's not just about what they say. It's also about how they say it. When someone answers quickly and with a burst of energy, it often means they've been carrying that dream silently all along, but perhaps haven't dared to pursue it. Hesitant answers, on the other hand, can reveal people who have become disconnected from their dreams, or who were taught somewhere along the way to suppress their deepest desires. I once asked this question to someone, and the moment I finished speaking, they lit up as if a fire had just been ignited inside them. We saw how the fifth question holds extraordinary power in uncovering hidden dreams and true desires. And often, the answers people give reveal sides of their character that are not immediately visible. One man once told me, "I'd travel to every country and document disappearing cultures through photography and storytelling." That single response revealed someone driven by adventure, by a deep desire for cultural preservation, and by creative expression. These qualities weren't obvious in his conservative business role. Yet they became crucial later when we worked on international projects that demanded cultural sensitivity and awareness. Another person shared, "I'd create a foundation that provides free education for children in underserved communities." Her answer spoke of values rooted in equality, education, and social justice, principles that guided the way she made decisions, even within a corporate environment that seemed distant from those ideals. Seneca once wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more who is poor." This question reveals exactly what people crave beyond material success. Some crave impact, others crave creativity. Still others crave connection, adventure, or service. Pay close attention to the scale of their dreams. Do they think globally about changing the world at large? Or do they think locally about improving their community? Do they dream of personal fulfillment or of serving others? These distinctions reveal their fundamental worldview and the deepest motivations that guide them. It's also important to notice whether their answers align with their present actions. Someone who dreams of helping animals but has never volunteered at a shelter may be disconnected from their own values. Someone who longs to live a creative life but pursues only purely practical careers may be suppressing an essential part of themselves. Sometimes, the most revealing aspect isn't what they say, but what they don't say. If someone never mentions relationships, family, or connection in their impossible-to-fail scenario, It could suggest they are fiercely independent, or perhaps struggling with intimacy. If they never talk about personal achievement, it may reveal that they are oriented more toward others than themselves. This question points directly toward the true direction of their soul, showing what would bring them ultimate fulfillment. And when you understand someone's deepest desires, you begin to understand everything about how to connect with them, how to support them, and what will truly motivate them in any situation. But remember this: reading someone's thoughts is not about gaining an advantage over them. It is about understanding them deeply enough to build relationships that actually matter. Because when you truly grasp someone's highlights, their growth, their values, their surprises, and their dreams, you are no longer just making conversation. You are creating connection. The most successful people in any field are not necessarily the smartest or the most talented. They are the ones who understand human nature deeply enough to inspire trust, to build meaningful relationships, and to create genuine collaboration. So, if this video helped you better understand the psychology of human connection, please like it so others can discover these powerful questions as well. Don't forget to subscribe to Life Through Stoicism for more insights on understanding people and building relationships that matter. And finally, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 5 questions will you try first? Comment below. I'm curious to know which one resonates most with you and what you discover when you use it. I'll see you in the next video.